Hey, I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and please hit like. And today we're going to have a disassembly of what I was bragging about having, which is that movement right there, which is a Elgin convertible. Very beautiful movement. So we're going to just disassemble this. I got it running, but it needs to be disassembled, and it needs to be cleaned, and it needs to have some tender, loving care. So let's get on with this. So I've already taken the power off the mainspring here. The mainspring is fine. I disassembled that and had a look at that a while back. But the first thing I would like to do in this watch is just remove the balance cock. I'm just holding the back of it here with my finger so that it doesn't fly away. Come fly away with me. Good jazz song. So get rid of that and get this out of here. This is not in too bad shape, actually, this balance cock. And the balance, I demagnetized that earlier, and I'm just going to lay that on my hand here and then place it upside down on the mat. I'm not being super careful with this watch because it's my movement, so I'm not as careful as I would normally be when I'm disassembling a customer's movement, because I'm just farting around with this movement. So I know that to get these this plate off here, this holds this top plate here from the ratchet wheel, and it also holds the bottom plate. You'll see that in a second. It's a pretty neat watch movement, and they were designed to be flipped around from hunter movements to your traditional crown at 12 o'clock movement, which would be an open face watch as opposed to a hunter watch with a lid where the crown is at, ooh, let me think, what time is that crown at? 9 o'clock. So it's a 9 o'clock crown. There's some case screws there. This watch it's very difficult to get the proper screws for this, or sorry, the proper case for this watch, because it's a bit of an anomaly. Elgin built them up till 1890, I believe. Again, I looked them up a while back. And after that, they just stopped building them. I think the engineers that day had nothing to do. So they had this idea that they would build this watch where you could flip the crown from one position to the other. It's a pretty cool design. And my shout out to Sonny Morehouse out there, who runs the watch club for avid watchmakers. There's a little hole in the back right there. That hole right there, you put a needle in there, a pin in there, and it pushes the ratchet, not the ratchet wheel, but it pushes the ratchet. You have to put a little pressure on here, so you have this, a key right on there. When you wind it just a little bit, and then you push down in that hole with a needle, and that will release the pressure or power from the mainspring. Then you can just work this up. This is going to go through my pearl cleaning machine. Pearl, pearl, pearl. You are my darling girl. Okay, guess what that is from. Anybody? Is there any takers there? Can anybody guess what that's from? This mechanism is really interesting. So this mechanism here, it is pushed by a rod underneath here, which pushes this up, which takes the ratchet wheel, moves that up like that, and then that ratchet wheel then basically interfaces with the center wheel to change the time. So it's a neat little design that they had. Again, the engineers were not busy, so they ended up doing some crazy, funky designs. So let me just take out this screw. I'm going to have to get in closer soon because I'm not seeing what I'm doing. It's good to have good eyewear as well. I'm wearing a D-Cave watch from Bulova today. So in case you're curious, this is my watch today, D-Cave from Bulova, and it's an old digital watch. It's kind of nice. I don't know why I got it. I like cool old things, I guess. So I picked up that D-Cave watch a little while back. I got to put my loop on here, and there we go. I get a little closer with my loop on. I don't know why I bought it. I think it cost me like 350 bucks, and I bought it for no apparent reason. I just thought it was cool. And you see the little fork on the back of this thing that grabs underneath here and lifts that straight up. So this will actually come out now because the plate's not on it. So So I can move that out of the way. And then this gear will actually come up too. But like I always do, I need to go take a picture of this stuff before I forget how to reassemble it. Now I bought a Thrustmaster T128 with a shifter for race car driving. You know, I fly, but I also do a little bit of race car driving. I bought the program Rally 2, and I tell you, my heart rate went up. So I'm not sure whether race car driving is good for me or not, because it tends to raise up my heart rate considerably, I think. And it's not easy. And it's a force feedback joystick, and it's got some pretty good action on this thing. And I used to do Need for Speed and all those other programs years ago. This was super interesting. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to take this out. This thing is not easy to strip apart. This is an interesting little block here. I got to remember that that screw goes with this block. And I tend to group my screws with my parts because I don't like to have to spend the time trying to find out where they belong. But again, imagine the engineers that or the clock watchmakers who designed this thing and thought, I wonder what we can do today. Because it's an interesting design. Every bit of it is kind of neat. It's very unique. That's kind of why I like it. I think I got pressure on this spring here right now. So I got to get my rod out. Where's my rod? Where is my rod? Oh, I'll use a stick instead. Oh, there's the rod. So another watchmaker named Mike puts disinfectant on all of his needles in his watch holding carriage because he knows he's going to poke himself with it. So shout out to Mike out there today, who may or may not be watching this video. Who knows? I gotta get this thing out of the way here. I've already loosened the screw, so it just should come up like that. And just pick that up nice and easy and put that aside. I've got my little pile over on the side there, so. And then this will come right out again. And then I hope I can just lift this straight up. There we go. And put that out of there, and that is the click wheel for the click spring. So all this is good now. So now I can likely put a screwdriver in here and get this up like that. There we go. And there's the winding pinion. That's what this thing is called, believe it or not. So that is a pinion, a winding pinion. I'll move that out of the way. And then this plate goes out of the way. Let's drop that on the floor. And there's a peg that I got to keep an eye on. It's right here. And this peg, the pointy part of the peg goes down and the round part goes up, and that pushes up when the setting lever goes up, which is a very interesting design. And the reason I know that is because I had to study the design in order to disassemble this last time. I'm trying to get the mainspring out. I think I need to turn this thing around a bit. The world's best holder here. Yeah, maybe I just hold that in my hand while I do that, right? There we go. That barrel's good to go. It's good to go, Jerry. And there, if you can look down below, you can see when I pull that lever, like that. You see that on the top moving? And right here, there is a little trench right there. And that little trench, you can see that little trench there? That little trench, when I move that, it rides up. The pin rides up on that trench, and when it gets to that ramp, it pushes upward, which pushes this thing here upward. So that's how that works. It's a pretty funky design, and that takes the gear and moves it in line with this gear here. So I'm still not sure. I think this must be a pressed in fit that I may have to undo, but I'm going to just see if I can take the fingers out first and maybe just remove this whole gear. My cannon pinion is still in place, so I want to grab that baby out of here before I get too aggressive here with all these fingers and stuff. I could just leave it like this to get the cannon pinion out and attack it. So if you haven't seen one of these before, these are my Alien versus Predator tool. That's for removing the cannon pinions, and when I press this lever, it grabs the cannon pinion and pulls it up. So it's a fairly safe way of removing a cannon pinion. This cannon pinion looks like it's round, so it doesn't look like it's got the ability to for me to grab the edges of it. There might be an indent in there, but no, it looks pretty clean. So I just have to do this then and pull up, and then the cannon pinion is removed. There it is. So that's not too difficult to do with this tool. It's a good tool for cannon pinion removal. And where am I going to put that? I'll put that with all the rest of the stuff. It's not too bad. So now the cannon pinion is out. It's out on this watch. And I should be able to unscrew this and this. But I want to take these fingers out first, I think. It's not absolutely necessary, but let me see if I just unscrew those. Can I get that out without too much trouble? Just put this back in my Myers number 58 movement holder, the best movement holder in the world. It's the best movement holder in the world. There's screw number 1. I gotta take off my other watch too. So I've got a big monstrous Apple titanium watch on my other hand. So it's like this thing here, and it's a computer basically. So it looks like that. So it's basically a massive computer, and then when you touch buttons, it does stuff. So is that really a watch? I don't think so. I think that's just a computer on my arm. So it's good for other things like reminders and stuff like that, but in general, the only thing it does is rob me of the value or the niceness of having a really nice watch on my wrist. I feel that my watch doesn't get enough attention. That's why I wear that on my right hand. I wear my left wrist is the watch I want to wear for the day. So basically I'm carrying a computer and a watch. So it's like the iPhone, right? A lot of people aren't wearing watches nowadays because of the iPhone. So this isn't going to come out without removing these fingers because I want to lift it straight up. So there you go. These fingers are usually fake individual fingers on this because they could do that, right? So they just put individual fingers on, and they have a plate on the bottom part, at the bottom of this, that's the actual connecting these three fingers. So it's one milled piece as opposed to separate pieces. It just looks like it's 3 separate pieces. I guess this was the first attempt at skeletonizing a watch, right? So, because it's not a bad skeletonizing job. It looks kind of nice. I'm in the hunt, though, for a really nice case for this. I would love to have a nice case for this. I guess these Elgin convertible watches, as rare as they are, a lot of the cases were gold. They're gold, Jerry, gold, I tell you. And because they were gold, they were very sought after for the gold itself, right? So people were just robbing the gold from the watch. I got to get this out here. It seems to be pretty stiff. There we go. Do not break the pivots. I don't want to go onto my lathe and have to do more pivots. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and gone. Yeah, it's a really nice looking bridge, though. Look at this. That's a beautiful looking bridge. I do say so myself. And I do say so myself. Now I'm going to take a picture of the gears here, although chances are I could very easily put that back together without taking a picture, but might as well. Might as well. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I think I will use this as my picture. It says it's adjusted. See, that's on the side, on the left side. adjusted. So maybe this was a railroad grade. I'm gonna have to look this up to see if it was a railroad grade. There's the number. You guys can look it up. There is the number right there. 3845287. 3845287. Is that a railroad grade pocket watch? That is the question for the day. I think it might be, folks. I think that it might be. So I'm going to lift this up now, get that out of the way. So I got to remember when I put this thing together what sequence of events I take to put it together. So there we go. There's the watch, the wheel, and the plate. Now, I can leave this in place and throw this in the old wash machine, and that way I don't have to worry about press fitting this wheel again. Maybe it's a sin, but again, it's my watch. So too bad. I have long thumbnails today. Those are actually good for watchmaking. Long fingernails on one hand for guitar playing. And that is my story. So I leave the center wheel in here and put it in the wash machine like this. And that way I don't have to concern myself with it. I'll be able to put oil in there, sneak the oil in, right? So now I can just lift these gears up, put them down on the mat. I need to change my mat too. It's a little tiny bit dirty. And I like it to be spotless clean. I'm going to take a picture of this too, because it's a unique configuration with this pallet fork. Chatty McChatty pants, right? Now, tell me if you folks have one of these watches, right? I know I've got one, but I'm curious whether anybody else out there has an Elgin convertible pocket watch. So let's take off the. This is a like a balance cock. This is a cock for the pallet fork. It's not a bridge for it because a bridge has two screws. Bridge over troubled water. Oh, I look for the little edge thing that I can grab to lift this up. There we go. Just poked it and away it went. That's pretty gummed up. I think that's pretty gummed up. Now I'm looking at the pallet fork here and it looks like it's got plenty of oil and crap on it. So the cleaning will definitely be good for this. There's the pallet fork. It's an odd looking pallet fork actually. It's not the same as the pallet forks that you'd see today, because that balance, this side, the horseshoe on one side of the pallet fork is kind of unique. Likely done as a counterbalance for the pallet fork. So that's probably why they did that. I'm looking down at my mat and I see a screw here that's doesn't have a home. I hate when that happens. And this is the escapement wheel. Got to get that right. Somebody corrected me a while back and said, "Hey JD, it's the escapement wheel. Get it right, or I'm never going to listen to you again." So that's all cleaned up right now. I'm not going to bother oiling. Of course, I'm not going to bother oiling the. Just move this back and out of the way a bit. So I'm not going to bother taking these off and oiling them until I get this in the wash machine with the t-shirts and the underwear. Adjusted. Yeah, they're proud of this movement if it's adjusted. And there's that ramp I told you about. There is the ramp and the spring. I'm leaving that right where it is because I don't want that spring. I don't want to lose that spring on the inside right there. So there's the spring right here for that. But I'll wash it just like that and then dry it. And that will be fine like that. So I'm going to stack this in one of my many washing cages. I got to go get one. And just so you know, I did it. There are the bits and bytes of this pocket watch. So they'll go into the cleaning machine. Although the balance cock and balance I will do separately. I won't put those in the cleaning machine. And I already did the mainspring, so I don't need to do anything with the mainspring. It's providing plenty of power. And I did do a video on correcting the inner coil that grabs onto the mainspring arbor. I did one of those videos a couple of weeks ago. So check that out, because I showed the exact technique of modifying that mainspring coil. So this is the official basket for the Pearl watch cleaning machine. Complete basket, stainless steel wire netting for the Pearl watch cleaning machine. So I have two of these baskets. One of them I already have filled with a watch movement that I perhaps should have cleaned already, but I haven't. So this is the second one here, and I'm going to be very careful taking this out. It's got little sub baskets in here too, right there, that are of great use. And I can see there is something on the bottom of this one here, and I'm not sure what it is. So I'm going to put my other glasses on and have a look, because if it's a little bit of silt or dirt or something, I want to get that out of there. It is just the weld for the two baskets. That's all it is. The solder or weld for the two baskets. Interesting. Interesting. So the first thing I do is I feed the bigger parts into the lower basket. So I get this. This can go in there nicely without a problem. I'm going to put this face down like that to keep that setting lever up. The only reason I'm doing it. And then I can place this in here as well. And I can place this in here as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in the two screws that are part of this, so they're bunched up nicely with that. And I think that's all I'm going to put in this basket. So that's that for now. And then the second basket is this one here. So I'm going to put some pretty big parts in the second basket as well. So I'm going to put the 3 fingers in here. And I can also throw the screws in for that, because this basket mesh is small enough that the screws won't fall out. I'm hoping I can put this in here. I might not be able to. This might have to go to the bottom basket, like that. Yeah, I think I'll put that on the bottom basket on the outside here. Gotta stop wrapping that around, eh? Just like that. Just the outside rim, like that. So that'll stay as it's spinning. And I don't think it's interfering with this basket. No, it's all good. And then I can load maybe, I don't have very many big parts left, but I'd like to have a little weight on the other side of this. So I'm going to throw a couple of these gears in here. This one, and maybe the cock for the pallet fork. Put that in there. And then the final baskets are these. I can actually put some, I can fill these up as well and throw some of these parts, smaller parts, in these baskets here. I have 4 of these in my other holder, so it's a little bit better, I think. So I got this here, and is that going to fit? Yeah, that fits. And I'll throw the screw as part of that in there, because I don't want to mix that up. I'll also throw this stainless steel pipe, or whatever you want to call that, in there. And then I can throw some of these parts in there because they are screwless. I'm not worried about matching screws. That goes onto a peg on the main plate. That's fine there. And this could just probably go on its own on the top, maybe. And then I can put the gears on the top without worrying about that. So that's that basket there. I think that's probably good enough. I did put the 3 screws in for that. So these screws are for what? What are these for? Anybody guess? They're for the other plate, I think. Oh, they're for the long plate. That's what they're for. So if I go into my other basket here, I know that these screws belong to this plate here, I believe, right? So, or actually they belong to this here. and the long ones belong to this here. So there won't be much confusion there at all. It just sounds confusing right now when I'm talking about it. And there's a screw here too. And what is that for? Who knows? That's for this screw here. I don't want to bunch this up with anything if I don't remember what the screw is for. It's likely for the balance cock. It's likely for the pallet fork cock right here. That's what that screw is for, so I'll put that in with that. And I got these little tiny parts here with a screw, and I don't want to mix them up with this. I'll be forever trying to find the right screw. I don't want to be in that situation. So this can go on this side, and then lift this up, and then grab these really small components. I do not, contrary to popular belief, I do not put the this can probably go in with this. Yeah, it's all part of that spring mechanism. I should be able to, this should stay together even if the screws are a bit different. The smaller one goes into there, I think, so. Yeah, they're both kind of the same almost. And I'll put this in here as well. Actually, this is a bit rough to go in there, so I'm not going to put that in there. And I don't put the pallet fork in the cleaning machine. I want to hand clean the pallet fork. So the wheels go in. So now I got it looking like this here, and I've got one more to go. And I'll put the wheels towards the center with the pinions down. Yeah, just trying to make sure that the wheels don't stick through. There's one, there's another one. And then I can put this one all by itself over here, just so it doesn't hit anything. And I'll put this on this side here. And that's the winding stem with the pinion. And then this can go on its own. The pallet fork can go. Because I'll be cleaning the pallet fork, the balance, and the balance staff on their own. So that goes like that, and it goes like this. There's the complete basket. Now the other basket I have is in here, and that is with the Japanese watch I was working on. The other thing is I noticed that there's a smooth rim here, and there's a less than smooth rim here that's compressed down. So I try to put the smooth rim down so I get a better seal on the top when I put the cages back in. So lower the cages, just put your hand in there, and then bring the whole unit down like that. And I check along the edges just to make sure there isn't a gap that's going to allow parts to fly out. I see a little bit of a gap right there. I don't like that, but I don't really have any screws that are going to fly out of there, I don't think. Yeah, so that should be fine. I don't like that gap, but that should be fine. So there, that's it. Put that back in the case here, and then walk that into the basement for cleaning. So that's it for today's video, and I'll be cleaning that, and I'll do a video reassembling it. So let me get the other camera on for a second. I'll put this over here in view just for the heck of it, right there, and I can turn the camera on while I'm talking. Pretty good, huh? I do need to shave. I charged the grandchildren $1 to go like that in my hair, so sandpaper. Anyway, that's it for today's video. So this is the Elgin movement that I've been working on. Still on my holiday break here, and likely starting a part-time job in January, even though I don't need to. You can let me know whether I should or not, all the trials and tribulations of working part-time after you retire. So that's it. So thanks a lot for watching my video and supporting my channel. It's been quite the ride, and hopefully it'll continue as quite the ride. So keep your stick on the ice and keep watchmaking.